Hey guys, I hope you can hear me. I think I just turned the volume up on the computer, but I have been doing some rigging and kit bashing and stuff like that, and I have here the site of the place where I got the plugin where I'm about to show how to use to rig inside of layout, which is a lot easier method than rigging in Modeler. I'm using Lightwave, of course, which has two different programs, one for modeling and one for scene setup and with your cameras and stuff like that. So I actually have a plugin that allows you to not do anything in Modeler, but just go straight to layout and do all of your rigging and things like that, weight mapping and everything like that without actually having to work through Modeler. So I have here a model that I've been working on, and let's see, I have it posted a few pics on my blog, which kind of demonstrate what you can achieve in layout with that plugin. So I'm going to do a re-rig of that using the paint weights tool, which is over here on the Third Power site. No, you're all going, is that for free? And no, it's a pretty expensive tool. So yeah, but it's really convenient to use if you're using Lightwave. So I think I'll just get into it and maybe explain a little bit about how I rigged the model that I've been working on. So I was hoping that VPR works today. It wasn't working the other day, and I think it's because of just sort of a glitch in the system. But like I said, it's not textured or anything, and I think I just want to use X-ray bones and get in here and start using the paint weights tool, which is I've assigned to this menu that I have here called assign tools, and I am going to actually already hotkeyed it or placed it in the one of the menus over here, which is called it's called the weights tool, isn't it? I have my shades on right now, so I can't naturally see where it is. Let me find it right quick. Yeah, paint weights, isn't it? Uh, one of these. Let's see. No, no, maybe it's under more paint weights tool. Okay, yeah. So I've been adding a lot of different tools, and so it just sort of bounced into one of those more menus. What you have to do first is before you can use it, you have to pick the object on which your bones are have been converted, and go in there, pick that object, and then click. Well, let's use the paint weights option, which is I've embedded deeply here in this menu. So with this tool, you'll be able to kind of come in here and use a special form of the wireframe, which will just sort of like it allows you to paint the weights or use different options here to fill this territory, which is just filled with polygons with a certain weight ratio, which will allow one of these bones to actually act on it. So I've already done all of these bones in layout, and I don't usually, excuse me, in Modeler, I don't usually use layout to make bones. A lot of people do that, and I just don't do that because I'm not able to get a good natural schematic views of my object as I'm doing it. So let's see here. I've already sort of posed these bones. So what I can do is I can come in here and I hopefully have deleted a lot of unnecessary bones which were made in Modeler. Let's see if I can find my natural scene. Um, what's it called? Classic scene editor. Which is really important. If you come in here, Classic Scene Editor has all your bones that you've made, and you can just easily pick them without having to come in here and lay out, which is, you can pick and lay out, but it's easier to come over here and be able to know which bone you're using and label things and things like that. So like I said, here in the hierarchy, the first bone on this is the pelvis, which is everything else is pretty much attached to. And what I want to do is find this bone right here, which is either, I think it is the chest plate, or some bone that I made which will control weight map, which I'm going to make in just a few minutes, which is going to allow it to control that geometry right there. Let me see here. If I can naturally find that bone, that would be just great. It's supposed to be highlighted, but I think it's in one of these hierarchies now, and just opening it is not causing it to. There, no, no. Well, anyway, okay. What I want to do is undo that and find that bone. Let's see. I will click on it again, and desperately try to find it. I just don't see it highlighted. Um, it's supposed to be attached to this pelvis, but I'll tell you what, that's the first bone, and let's see if I can find it in this hierarchy here. It's a fun little game. Let's see. That is going to be the bone that I'm going to attach the pelvis to. All right, all right, all right. Just give me 1 second. Ah, we found it. Okay, for some reason I'm blind today, so let me go ahead and get the text for that. What I want to do is highlight each bone, and my process is to highlight each bone and uh, no, use the short key, or excuse me, use the hotkey of equal sign. Excuse me, hotkey is equal sign. Find the name, copy the name, cancel it, because if you don't cancel it, you will rename it, and something funky will happen. You'll get another bone, or something like that. So you don't want to hit yes once you rename. You want to just say cancel. And then I'll come back here into this paint weights tool, which I have not selected the full object of. And as soon as I get hold of that, okay. And use the paint weights tool and say I've got all of these maps, and actually I think they're already pretty much made. Okay, so if I highlight that chest plate map, it seems to be already there. So I think what I want to do is maybe erase it and come back and redo it. So let's try that. Because let me just erase, and I have it set to fill. So I'm gonna pick the entire object, and then once I hit take the setting off of erase, and I still have it set to fill, so I click it again, and so now it's attached to that bone. So I'm going to check and see if it really did do it, and hold on a second. Okay, so I click the bone and rotate, so it is attached, that geometry. Okay, so next thing I want to do is check to see if this next bone, which is the breast plate, is attached, and I'll click on that. I'll hit the equal sign, hit copy, cancel, go check and see where it is. Okay, so it is attached to bone 1, which is this bone that's very bottom, and which is also attached to the pelvis. I'll hit paint weights, and notice nothing happens. Hit paint weights again, and here I am, and I think I've actually highlighted more than no, no, no. Okay, okay. So I'll go to breastplate, which I think is already in there, but it's not highlighted. So I need to hit that and then hit erase because I touched both of them. I think there is more than one attached, more than one that's being highlighted at the moment. So that's that. No, okay, so I want that. All right, but I don't want that. So now hopefully the breastplate um, is going to be controllable. So I'll hit the space bar to come out of there. And the interface is really intuitive, I think, because you don't have to, once you click on something, you don't have to hit enter or anything. It's just done, and you can just come out of there and be fine with whatever it is that you did. You can hit undo. You can even use lasso in the paint weights. So that's kind of why I like the tool, because you're able to do a lot of like Photoshop like interface functions without having to like do completion things like hit enter and things like that. So it's really intuitive and easy to use as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I like to use it in layout, or I like to make weight map. This is what I'm doing basically, is making weight maps for these geometries, and that's why I like using it in layout as opposed to modeler. It's a lot easier, I think, to be able to do it like that. So, like I said, some of these names and the naming, I don't instantly remember a lot of times. So I have to come in here and hit equal sign, find the name, and then go back into Paint Weights tool if the weight map isn't made, and just sort of like find out if it is and it's not. So basically just hit fill, and you got your weight map there. Let's see if I can rotate it now. Like I said, it's rotatable, and it just is a fast process. You can go and use properties as you do it, and come in here to these the bone properties. If you hit P, while you're selecting a bone, properties will open, or any other object in layout. Any object, if you hit P, these properties options will come up, and you're able to kind of browse the properties of that object. And on a bone object, basically, you can come in here and choose the weight maps only, so it won't be tugging on a lot of the other bones that are in here, a lot of the other geometry in here. It'll only use this weight map. If you don't check this, a lot of times it will pull on the shoulder or pull on the other things that are really close to it. So I don't know, that's basically all I have to say today about it, and I'm going to go about doing the rest of this and get my figures back and start transforming and doing that whole thing. I will show you, if you're here, since you have waited so patiently, I will show you a little preview of the transformations that I had blocked out. So let me see if I can find that really quick. Load object, bash file 2. See, I'm kit bashing, and so you can see that I have already, while I was doing the bashing, I went ahead and did all of the transformations for the different modes that you'll be able to play in the game. And let me just browse around here real quick so you can see what's been going on. Like I said, I hope it's recording. If it's not recording, I'll have to do this all over again, which I have done before, but I'm sure you don't believe that, as from the quality of the previous podcast, so or vlogcast. And like I said, I forget to do my MADRADIO intro, but this is just a tutorial really for people who use Lightwave and they want to get more functionality out of layout, so they can use that paint weights option, and it's a lot easier for them to use. And like I said, it's by Third Powers, called Paint Weights, and I recommend a lot of their tool selection, especially for using in Modeler. They tend to have a lot of cool, sort of painting of geometry type tools. You should check it out on YouTube. You should be able to find something about it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope to see this demo come forth here and pretty soon. Just it won't be like a real playable thing. It'll just be sort of like a demonstrational thing. But I'd like to get the controls a little bit more robust, as I tend to like a lot of really intense games with strategy and arcade and all that. So I'll be sure to be working real hard on that anyway. But yeah, thanks for checking out this podcast, and I will see you on the flip side. So take care, and thanks again.